What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is Doggone John. It's a rainy day here in the Lone Star State where I currently am hanging out for a little while. And I unfortunately got some kind of illness. So excuse my voice and everything in that respect. But I wanted to do a nice easy video. I realized going through some of my photos that it's been 7 months since I've owned my McNee's, or my first McNee's I should say, and I wanted to do a video on my thoughts and my time with it, and if I still hold my values and opinions the same way that I did before when I first got it. So I'm going to do a rundown on the basics, kind of do a re-review in a way. I'm going to talk about some stuff I like, I'm going to talk about some stuff I don't like about it, and then we'll go from there. And there's some honorable mentions, I suppose, I will add in. So, yeah, when you first get your hands on one of these, I find that the packaging of a blade is just somewhat as important to me as the blade itself. And I always enjoyed the McNee's packaging. You know, you got your little card with the information on it. You got some stickers, some cool graphic art on the side of the box and stuff. And you know, it's cool. It's personal. It's just enough, and it's not overly a large size or anything like that. That's hard to store. You know, I've had plenty of knives where I'll throw the boxes away because it was too much room or whatever, and I didn't have the space for it, that kind of thing. So anyway, as far as a marketing and packaging and stuff, I think they do really well with that. Moving on to the knife. Now this one here is, as you can read on the box, this is my atomic bronze jigged titanium, and this is their spear point, which I actually don't really see much of a difference between their drop and their spear point. I think it's very similar. It's a very small, more gradual drop with this one as opposed to their normal drop points. But anyway, I digress. Let's talk about the things I like first, and then we'll talk about some things I don't like. So, after 6 months of use, it's a tank still. There is zero play at all in any direction. You couldn't force this thing to do any kind of play whatsoever, and I have put this thing through the paces in my time of ownership. So, construction and integrity, everything like that, it excels. Does really, really well in that category. And the action's just as good, if not better, than the day I got it. Still drop shutty, still flies open like a rocket, no matter what method you use to open it. Yeah, everything about that is rock solid. The particular jigging on this I love to such a degree, you know, it's unreal. So it's worn in a little bit, and I carry other stuff in my pockets, so it's gotten scraped and dinged, and little things here and there over time. If I can focus it or not, there's starting to get some snail trails on there and such. I don't know if it's gonna focus or not. There you can see a couple of different marks, but on the back, it's wearing in. It's doing its thing. It patinas really well. The clip has gotten a little bit of a beating too as well. I'm usually crawling around some places, and Lord knows what I get myself into on a daily basis sometimes. So anyway, I gotta give it a 10 out of 10 on that. Everything apart, nothing has been falling apart on me or giving me any issue. Everything is worn in beautifully and still working well. The Magnacut, I'm happy to report, has been pretty good. I have also had difficulties sharpening, though. I'm still in the early stages of perfecting my sharpening. So I will say there's a couple of times I got a little frustrated thinking, is it the steel? Is it, the way I'm using it, or whatever the deal is? I think that it's just me probably, and I need to learn how to sharpen better. But when I can get a good edge on this thing, it lasts a great deal. I actually just sharpened it just this morning, put a new edge on there, and pretty pleased with it. So it's all ready to go for another line of duty. Yeah. So steel, construction, everything as far as that goes, really, really well done. Still holding up. Magnacut was a great choice for this, in my opinion. Its stainless properties are exactly what this needed. I feel like I can take this out and go hunting, I can go fishing, I can do hiking, all that kind of stuff, and it's the perfect blade for a lot of that stuff. Now, it being a folder, it does have some drawbacks in that department also. So one thing I've noticed a lot of, and I'm a little bit hard on my knives, but if I give this blade a real good push down on this and I bear down on something pretty hard, this lock bar loves to inch its way over there and slip all the way over there. So that's one complaint. I don't know, if that is a typical thing to happen on a frame lock, or if I'm just being critical, but all I have to do is snap it back out and then it's all right again. So that's one thing that has kind of gotten me, I guess leery is the word. But I also noticed that wasn't quite the same deal on my full stonewash titanium, the plain Jane that I had before this one. It didn't seem to happen. It seems like once I got these jig scales, these are a lot lighter weight than those of the plain Jane stonewashed. And I can't tell if it's just the scales or if it's just the tolerances that are put into it. I'm not really sure. And I'd love to have something to compare it to as well. If I still had my Chris Reeves Sabenza, which I still really wish I did have one. I've been in my feels lately about a Sabenza. Been wanting to get my hands on one again pretty bad. And like I said, I really wish I had one for comparison in this video at least. But it's not in the cards for me at the moment. So I don't know if it's a typical frame lock deal that gets shoved in and over behind the tang or not. I'm not really sure. So that's one minor thing I don't like. I haven't taken this apart in my time of ownership because I haven't had the need to. It's easily washable, and I haven't needed to lube it up as the action is always beautiful on this one. So I don't bother to do anything like that. But one thing also is these double sets of Torx screws here. I almost kind of wish that they had just done a one-sided deal to break it loose. It just kind of requires extra tools in a way, which is, it's not the end of the world. I can break these loose with a regular Torx bit and it's fine, one side at a time. But just to do any kind of pivot work, it's another challenge. So I haven't fooled around with that, and it's something I kind of wish I had a little more access to. I think for the price of the knife too, it would be kind of nice if they would include a set of Torx for this. And so you could, be able to take it apart and clean it and do what you want to do to it, and you have the tools provided. I think for the price point, that's not unrealistic. I mean, these are in the same range as like a Chris Reeves, and those are included cloths and tools and lubricants and yada, yada, yada. The list goes on. You got the spa treatment, all that kind of stuff. So, and that's not to say this doesn't have that either. The McNee's, I believe you can send in for servicing with a request. I think it just costs you shipping, and Jonathan and his team will go over it and, do whatever you need it to do, or do whatever you want to do to it, within reason. But, yeah, anyway, so there's some nitpicks and stuff like that. However, otherwise, this thing is still a solid tank, and I love it just as much as the day I got it. It's one that just kind of ages with beauty and time, and I can't wait to see how I feel about this one years from now, as I don't plan to get rid of this ever. It's just my perfect titanium knife, in my opinion. And there's a lot of ways that this thing shines in the market of titanium folders, frame locks and stuff. Like I had mentioned with, say it's a Chris Reeves, the action is superb with this. I mean, that's one thing you don't even have to bat an eye at. So, I mean, I'm just going to push it really lightly. One more time. I'm on the lock bar, kind of. I mean, it doesn't take much for this thing to fly right open. And then when it is open, it's rock solid. This thing's like a fixed blade. You ain't got to worry about nothing. And I'm giving it some might there, and it's not moving anywhere. That to me is a huge thing with a folder. It needs to have some good lockup. I don't want no blade play. I don't want no up and down, side to side, nothing like that, you know. So that's one thing this thing has excelled with really, really well. So let's talk tasks and things I've done with it. So that whole lock bar sliding over and such is a deal I only noticed because like I said, I am hard on my knives. I think I had used this for cutting some limbs on a tree. I know the one memory I can think of, my wife and I were playing some disc golf, and there was a limb in the way of one of our baskets. So I went over there and I took my knives, I bared down on it, or I took this knife, not one of my knives, I took this one, bared down on the limb, and it sliced it right open, sliced it right in half, and we were good to go. So that was another instance where I realized the lock bar. However, things slice like a dream. Like nobody's business. And as I stated, it's probably not meant to be slicing limbs. It's a folder. It's a smaller folder, albeit great construction, great steel and everything. But it's not going to hold an edge forever, and it's not going to enjoy that kind of bear down hard work as something like my crew wear, fixed blade. This thing's going to go through it no problem and keep on kicking, but something like this, not meant for it. However, it handled the task just well, and it's not my first time doing that. When I was doing landscaping and maintenance on the campground I was working at and such, there was a lot of times where I was cutting branches and different things, smaller limbs. I was using this for PEX tubing for plumbing. I would cut off stuff, score it. I used this quite a few times when we went camping as a kind of just a basic backpacking knife. I didn't try to baton or make a fire necessarily with it. I would get some shavings occasionally, easy stuff like that, but I was never putting it through some crazy task like that. And it's always held up for me. As long as I was able to get the edge back afterwards, and it wasn't too much to get that back either, I think it held reasonably well. For Magnacut at least. But I also have another thought with this, and I kind of have been pondering it only because, like I had talked about my Chris Reeve kick lately, is I would love to see some different steel options. You can't go wrong with Magnacut, and it is it's the craze these days, the steels. As far as folders and most knives, Montana Knife Company, obviously McNee's is doing it. Chris Reeves has some. Any decent blade worth of salt. Most of the companies are trying to get into Magnacut. Spyderco's doing it. I'm pretty sure Benchmade has some as well. So it's kind of like that hop on the train kind of steel, and it's fine. It's a good steel. Don't get me wrong. But if I could see something like, I don't know, like some decently done crew wear or some 4V or just something with a little bit better edge retention, I think that the geometry of this blade and some great, good holding edge steel, great edge holding, whichever order that needs to go in. But I think that if that was the case, that this could go to a whole nother level. And I understand that, a lot of the deal with these titanium folders is that it's corrosion resistant, and that's kind of a lot of the appeal with it, is it's built for whatever task you put it in. And I know a lot of those other ones are not. However, you could use alternatives that have a little bit better edge retention than, say, Magnacut, and probably have a fantastic knife down the line. I don't know his plans. Jonathan seems to be, he's really big on, he's fleshing out everything to do with the Mac 2 3.5, Gen 2 that is. And so he's done multiple scale options lately with inlays and all kind of different stuff. And so he's basically just fleshing out the market with those, and he's got a lot of production batches going. So I couldn't say what his plans are going forward, but that's where I would like to see the brand go. The improvements done to the Gen 2 is fantastic, and I really think that he's improved a lot on everything that the Gen 1 didn't have, but I'd love to see that next step, you know, just love to see what's going on. Whatever happens, I think this one's an instant classic. I think this one's going to be standing the test of time in my head. The Gen 2 Mac 2 is fantastic, and that's pretty much what I have to say about it right now. You know, I'm going on 15 minutes, and I don't think I have a whole lot else to say about it, but I appreciate y'all watching and checking the blade out again. I know I've kind of beaten this dead horse a little bit, but it is like I said, a really rainy day, and I just thought I'd do something light and easy for a video. It's been a while, so wanted to put something out for y'all. Also, since I will be stationary for a bit, I just wanted to put this out there. If anybody does have a Sebenza that they would like to loan me or send in for the channel to test, etc., to do in a comparison with this, I would relish that opportunity. If you would get a hold of me on my Instagram or email me through my YouTube page here, however, that'd be sweet. And I would love to put these two head to head and see where they come out. Stay tuned as well for some more fixed blade content. So I have had this cold now, so I haven't really been able to do a ton of crazy stuff outside, but I'm going to take the Kyle knows where the Bake Apple and the Primitive Bear Knives Hunter's EDC and do some camping videos pretty shortly here. If the weather clears up, I'm actually going to do an overnight, and I'll be doing a video of me doing some camp tasks, putting these two head to head and see where they land out. So anyway, thanks for watching the channel. If y'all enjoyed this, please subscribe, like down below, comment, and let me know what y'all thought of it. And we'll see y'all in the next one. This is Doggone, signing out.